What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review for you, and one that was on my list just because I picked up an album by these guys a while ago, and it was brutal and silly, and that kind of, screams, well, at least two sides of our, personalities here. We have multiple sides. Most of them are stupid.
That's fair.
But I figured this would be kind of fun to go over. We're going to go over the latest offering from Stillbirth, Survival Protocol. This also comes out on Halloween on Raining Phoenix Music. This band formed in 1999 in Germany. This is their 9th album overall. I got into them with their album Revive the Throne, which, believe me, that small bit of artwork up there does not do that artwork justice. You open it up and even like the backsplash has so much ridiculous shit on it. But there's ridiculous shit on this one. Like, if you look hard enough, you will see the Turkish shooter that was in the Olympics, the guy that looked like he just got out of bed and grabbed a gun and showed up at the Olympics. There's also the fucking little white meme cat in there, too. This band is silly. This band is very, very silly, but they're also pretty damn brutal. We love death metal. We love irreverence. We love pop culture references. So yeah, here we are. That's why we're doing this.
I got into this band today. I mean, I probably heard them. I listened to a lot of Spotify. I listened to a lot of Spotify radio stations, and I do listen to some brutal death metal bands. So I'm sure I've heard these guys before and just didn't know it. But I got into them today, and when I saw the cover, the artwork for this album, I said, okay. Because I get it. We're equally stupid and very irreverent, and yeah, I'm a goofball. I'm a fucking idiot. So is this guy. I mean, it's part of our charm, right? So why not?
But charm is kind of like a big thing with this, because musically this is pretty fun. Like, these guys are definitely silly. Apparently a lot of their themes are overreaching in terms of, like the albums all tie together in some weird sci-fi theme. There's also a lot of stuff about weed and other weird shit, horror movies. It doesn't matter. These guys have riffs. They are clearly very talented. And they're also really clever about integrating different styles of music into brutal death metal overall. Which, at least I want to say, Revive the Throne, I do feel is a bit heavier than this. It has been a little while since I've jammed this band. Production-wise, this feels a little on the thin side. Like, this feels more like tech death production, where everything is very crisp, very polished, and some things, namely the guitars, feel like they are thinned out, mainly for the sake of showing off how many notes they can play, which this does get techie at points.
I mean, that's fair.
Throne of Bones, I would say Baptized in Blood. The title track on here, a lot of little techie nuances, fun riff changes, fun stylistic changes across the board. But yeah, like the guitar tone, if you go in thinking you're going to get like just beaten over the head with a brutal death metal tone, maybe not.
Which is unfortunate because there's a lot of brutal death moments in here. A lot of slams, a lot of very brutal breakdowns, a lot of chugs. And so, you're kind of expecting a more brutal tone. And in this case, almost at times, I hate to say it, almost at times it sounds like synthesized guitar, and it's not. But there's times where it just sounds like laptop processed kind of guitar tone.
There are definitely some synths in terms of the intro, Existence Erased. There's a big sci-fi lead in, going to a theater near you, or maybe in this case to a Walmart bin full of sci-fi movies, hopefully not all starring Steven Seagal. But here's the thing. All right, this band definitely is brutal. There's a lot of big crunchy chromatic riffs and just big old slammy chugs, grooves, all that stuff. The vocals in here are particularly brutal and honestly pretty well done. They're pretty clear, but they still sound hefty. They still sound raw. But musically, this band isn't always brutal. In fact, this isn't the most brutal album I think I've heard. Far from it, in fact. This is actually pretty damn melodic. As this went on, I feel like it kind of leaned more into tech death, or at least sort of, a style where they could be a little bit more loose. Yeah, all right, they're silly, and the first thing I think of when it comes down to silly brutal death metal is, Party Cannon. Mainly because it's fucking Party Cannon.
Gulax.
Yeah, Gulax is pretty up there. This isn't just two steps and kind of grind, though. There's a lot more to it. But while some of the heavier stuff in here you can compare to Severe Torture, Skinless, Aborted, there's definitely some stuff on here that kind of reminds me of Within the Ruins. And Within the Ruins first off, they're not a brutal death metal band; they're a metalcore band. But they always did a lot of interesting things with like clever riff harmonies and like really interesting transitions. Like rhythmically, that band was just fucking on it. And this band has a lot of the same tropes, especially in transitions. Like these songs are pretty damn smooth sounding despite being like kind of a blitz of notes occasionally.
Like the weird transitions in the opening track, Existence Erased. I'm gonna be honest, I went from brutal thrash to If Between the Buried and Me was a brutal band. Just because how weird it is. It goes from something brutal to like kind of like a jazzy funky thing, and then you get this acoustic pattern, and then it's just mind-numbing speed, and it does that pretty much throughout this record. Baptized in Blood is another fine example of that.
That song is kind of genius.
Yep.
Like legit.
Opens up with like, I don't know, like salsa music. Like I'm not sure. I got like big like Arriba vibes.
You hear the waves crashing, an acoustic strumming guitar. We're set for a party. We're ready for margaritas and shit.
But there's little blips of brutality in the middle. Like once again, you're jamming at the beach, having a good time, and then jamming and having a good time.
It's like you're trying to serenade a chick in a bikini, and every like couple of seconds you belch in front of her. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from.
Actually, yeah. Actually, yeah.
Now, what I really like here is how cleverly they segue into the metal part. They don't necessarily like abandon the melody. In fact, they kind of keep with the melody. The lead melody especially transitions really well into the song. It's kind of bright and fun, but I mean, it's still brutal. Like you're still getting guttural roars. You're still getting heavily syncopated drums and shit. And it slowly starts getting more brutal and like, all right, this is pretty cool. But you get a lot of these clever harmonies. Like frequently the riff work on here is harmonized, and that kind of keeps it from just being like, a Cro-Magnon fucking, chug-a-thon with just, brutal death metal riffs. Because, I mean, all right, I love brutal death metal. It's not the most, like, creative style of death metal. Like, they have their tropes. But here, this band does a good job in terms of, like, setting up that next transition to something that is definitely not metal, because they bring back that acoustic melody and how it swings into that from brutal chugging to pleasant strumming on the beach. Pretty fucking clever. And there's also points where they blend all of that stuff together, so you get these like poppy hooks and fun little rhythms mixed in with like death metal chugs, and then again like pockets of blast beats. There is also a fuck ton of cowbell on this thing. That's how instantly that this band is just kind of like a fun party band. Like there's only one other band in death metal that I think I've heard this much cowbell play from, and that is Devos, which they aren't a party band. They're pretty strictly about like how much they don't like Jesus and religion and all that. But their drummer lifts the shit out of cowbell. He incorporates in blast beat patterns and fills, all that. They do that here too, but it's definitely a little bit more loose.
I mean, Throne of Blood's cool because Hold on.
Throne of Bones.
Oh, yeah. Like Throne of Bone. Throne of Bone is cool though because he uses the cowbell on the syncopated accents. So like it's I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but I heard cowbell and I was like, okay, that's cool. He's jamming with it. Okay, nope, those are the accents. Nope, that's cool.
Just flat out cowbell blasts. Every now and then you get like a little cowbell blast, and you're like, oh, that's fun. Why not?
If I had a cowbell, I'd do it too.
Yeah. This album also has solid lead work throughout, like a lot of tuneful, melodic leads. They're generally very short, but very tasteful on here. And, it does have its moments where it does get, like, notably more brutal. Cult of the Green, notably more brutal. Like,
yes.
Comes in thick, chuggy, groove-laden as hell. It's pretty much just kind of leaning into, like, every brutal death metal trope that most brutal death metal fucking people love.
Yeah, pig squeals, brutal slams, stanky breakdowns, and it's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And then the title track, The Survival Protocol, and the last track, Kill the Rule, also have a lot of southern passages in it, like southern groove metal, like almost like Pantera style southern groove metal, just out of nowhere.
I mean, they're well done, and again, it kind of shows how loose this band is, because the thing that I really enjoyed on this album was honestly a lot of the riff variety, like how they were kind of going back and forth between a lot of stuff that I would expect from like brutal death metal and tech death to like some southern fried riffs, some beach music, to like some like more bright, like melodic kind of hooks. Like there's some like mellow death hooks on here too. I like when brutal death metal isn't like so serious about their brutality. Like it's over the top. It's ridiculous. You know, I mean, when Sanguisuga came out with Tortured Whole, everyone fucking freaked out about, like, you know, some of the fucking song titles. Like, man, these are stupid. It was like, dude, if you're in a brutal death metal band right now, I want you to look at your album and look at your song titles. Guess what? They're stupid. Don't take them too fucking seriously. It's like, no, man. I was serious about beating that horror with a shovel. There are points where I think brutal death metal should just kind of embrace how over the top it is. Like, yeah, just go for it. Make it silly. Hell, even make some of the music silly. One thing, though, that I didn't like about this is the songs that were, like, more over the top, more, you know, outlandish with the transitions, like even doing, like, the non-metal stuff in there. Those were the ones that really stood out. I think most of the songs in here are really well done, but the ones that stood out to me were the ones that, you know, kind of tried a little bit harder to be a little bit more over the top. The rest of them, I mean, they're good, but they kind of fall, you know, by the wayside. Like, they sound like a lot of different tech death or brutal death metal acts. So you inevitably get, like, some songs that feel like a little bit fillerish on here.
And I mean, that was my gripe overall. Like, there are some definite cool moments in here, like cowbell, or, like, again, you know, going from salsa beach dancing to brutality. I mean, like, it's cool, but for me overall, it's just kind of there. Even the fun stuff, like, you know, fun little nuances are cool, but I mean, overall, and this is something we talked about upstairs, and I get it, I think this band sounds like a lot of other techie bands. On the same token, I think a lot of death metal we listen to sounds like a lot of death metal we listen to. So it's kind of an unfair comparison, but I don't know, for me, I just thought, like, I mean, it was cool. It's nothing, you know, for me personally, it was nothing really to write home about. It's definitely goofy, and I appreciate that. I appreciate most things that are goofy. I myself am a fucking gigantic goofball. I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know how to be really any other way. I've got 44 years of just being a fucking moron kind of drilled into me, and it's, again, part of my charm.
And he is really good at being a moron.
I am stupid good at it, you guys. So, overall, I'm going to give this record 3 stars. It's definitely techie. I like the more brutal moments, but I mean, to me, it sounds like a culmination of a bunch of stuff that I used to listen to 20 years ago. I do appreciate the things like the weird transitions. Like I said, the first track reminding me of a more brutal Between the Buried and Me. I wasn't expecting that. I also wasn't expecting salsa dancing or little jazz grooves, or, like, I can tell this band is goofy, but I mean, overall, to me, it's just a bunch of, like, kind of techie, brutal parts. The guitar tone to me sounded a little bit too overprocessed. The drums to me sounded a little bit too condensed. Overall, though, if you're a big fan of bands like Party Cannon or Aborted, early Obscura, Ingested, a little bit of Cytotoxin in there, because there's definitely that. A little bit of Beneath the Massacre, Cognitive, The Black Dahlia Murder, Through the Eyes of the Dead, stuff like that. If you're into any of that, check this out for yourself. Give it a day in court.
I am also going to go with a 3. Pretty strong 3, though. I enjoyed this. Like, this was fun. It's familiar territory on a lot of levels, but also I just kind of like the overall, I kind of like silliness. Like, I like the camp. Like, this is like a B-rated fucking horror movie with just nothing but dumb one-liners, boobs, and violence. A lot of fun riffs, a lot of, you know, like, clever transitions into, like, non-metal territory. I thought that shit was fun. You know, good solid grooves, fun syncopation. There's some really good vocal cadences on there. I think all of it is well executed. It's just there's a lot of bands that sound like them. But again, that's, you know, kind of a thing you can say about a lot of, well, I mean, metal in general.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it kind of came down to execution here, and I think overall they executed well. My issue was I could have used, like, a little bit more of those, like, additional, like, kind of like wacky BT BAM sort of flavors. You know, a little bit more of that. Those made those songs really stand out. The other songs, well, good. I don't know. They could kind of get, you know, pushed in the background a little bit just for being like, you know, like, all right, that's some straight up tech death standard, you know, stuff. It's still fun, but I like what you're doing over here because this is, you know, kind of clever, kind of silly, and well executed too. But yeah, if you're a big fan of, I mean, again, like Aborted, for me personally, again, Within the Ruins, again, not like stylistically that much of a, you know, comparison, but listen to the guitar work. It's very similar at times. Severe Torture, Skinless, you know, bands like that. And I'm pretty sure there's some like other goofy ass, like, you know, brutal death metal bands we probably miss outside of Party Cannon. Anything like that, check it out. This is pretty fun. So if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents, and our lone perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we will probably be doing one around Thanksgiving here in the U.S., which is, what, third week of November.
Something.
I don't know. I show up to a place with family and I eat food. Yep. That's all I know, and I'm generally reminded when I'm supposed to be there. Either way, membership is the main way to support the channel, and if you would like to help out there, there's a join button down there for you to smite and punch and hit, or shoot like the Turkish guy did in the Olympics. I don't even know how he did. He just became a meme overnight.
I don't know how he did either. I don't know. Get the meme cat. Put a paw up on that join button. We support animals here at Thralls Metal. We both have cats, so do that.
And we have a Shred Lord. Technically, he's kind of an animal.
We have a Shred Lord. Yeah, he's a lot of things. Shred is a lot of things. I love Shred to death.
Housebroken.
He is a lot of kind of.
Kind of?
He's kind of housebroken.
Kind of housebroken.
Not a big deal. We love Shred. Anyway, if you choose not to push that join button, it's cool. We do tons of non-members only stuff, non-members only live streams, which are just as stupid as the members only live streams. We do discography rankings, tons of album reviews, discussion forums, Nick's collection updates, all metal, all the time. It's what we do here at this channel, and we do it for you guys because we fucking appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of things. We couldn't do this without you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.